Welcome to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. Get ready to be inspired, uplifted, and connected to the miraculous energy of unconditional love that I call Mother Mary. If you're a highly sensitive, highly creative entrepreneur or light worker, and you want to magnify your impact and your intuition, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Reverend Frances Faden, interfaith minister, intuitive coach, and author of Meditation is Friendship with God. I can't wait to share miraculous stories, books, meditations, messages, and interviews with other miraculous light workers just like you. Are you ready to magnify your miracles? What are we waiting for? Let's get started. Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and I am so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you to magnify your miracles. And today, I'm going to be sharing with you a book that will help you do just that. This book is written by Phyllis Curott, and it is called Spells for Living Well. And we are going to be having Phyllis next week as our guest on the podcast. And you're going to get to know her. And she's amazing. And she's going to tell us things that I never knew about, and probably you never knew of either, about the origins of spells and what the word witch really means. And just all this stuff that was eye-opening for me, because obviously I'm a product of our culture and have been told things that are absolutely not true. And this book is just really filled with such good stuff. Prayers / spells / intentions / magic, just great stuff. So I'm really, really excited to share it with you. And I'm also really excited to share with you because you know I love books and I know you love them too. And if you're like me, sometimes you prefer to listen to a book rather than read a book. Maybe you're driving or out for a walk. I know for me, I listen to my podcast when I'm out walking. I like to catch up on the world when I'm walking and doing things. So I love listening. Well, if you're not yet a member of Audible, guess what? I partnered with them and now you can get a 30-day free trial. Yay! With Audible. And the link will be in the show notes for you. So you can click on that. And when you go over to Audible and you sign up, you'll get 30 days for free. You could definitely get this book if you want to. I believe it comes with one free book credit, but you get the 30 days free to try it out and see if you like it, see if you love it. I love it. I love listening to books. I love listening in general. That's why I love doing a podcast. I love listening to podcasts. I think it's awesome. So I'm so excited for every time I'm doing a book review now, I'll be able to share that with you, which is so exciting. And then, of course, if you love it, you get to stay and be an Audible member. So my friends, before I jump into all this good stuff going on, let's take a deep breath together. Breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything you no longer need. And just allowing ourselves to come into this moment. We're simply preparing ourselves to receive this information, receive all this wonderful inspiration today. And knowing that whatever you need to hear to magnify your miracles is exactly what you're going to hear today. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right, so I'm going to read you this quote in the very beginning of the book on casting spells. It says, most people know intuitively that when you fall in love, the world is full of magic. What they don't know is that when you discover the universe is full of magic, you fall in love with the world. And that is a quote from Phyllis Curott, who is the author of this beautiful book. And so the very first chapter is A Magical World. And the opening quote is, magic is an essential part of who we are, but sometimes we doubt ourselves. We doubt that magic is real. We need a spell to clear the way, a guide to help us find our way. So this book, she talks a little bit about the world of magic, which you probably, unless you've been on that path, don't know much about it. I didn't really know much about it. And I was so delighted when I learned that it's basically the indigenous practices and the indigenous religion of people of Europe. So there's such a strong connection right now with people seeking out shamanism, which is more of the indigenous Americas, both North and South America, shamanism. And I was so fascinated to know that Europeans have their own version of, for lack of a better word, shamanism, our own indigenous spiritual practices that are pre-Christian, pre the modern religions that we're all familiar with. And they're very earth-based and very sacred. So I'm going to read you a little bit from the beginning chapter of this. And then I thought it would be fun to just use the book, as I love to do, as an oracle. And I'll open it to a page and see if there's a spell that jumps out for us. So this is the bottom of page 3. She says, "The world is full of magic. We all knew it when we were children. I sensed it every time I climbed into the branches of the apple tree blossoming in my suburban backyard. An old friend knew she'd summoned a thunderous downpour by spinning wildly on a windy hilltop. So many of us discovered magic with a worn velvet rabbit we made real with love. We knew there was a wild and benevolent presence watching over us, making magic with us. Confidence in the magic of a world that's alive, that cares for us and guides us through glorious, bone-breaking, soul-making adventures fades as we grow older. We pack it away with the rabbit and the fairy tales and pick up textbooks and degrees in order to earn a living, pay a mortgage, and get our own kids to school. Yet a glimmer of the old magic surfaces when we read those fairy tales to them, or to ourselves, or get caught in a summer rain, or a dream comes true. A life without enchantment isn't fully alive. We need the spells that satisfy our longing for love, that nourish our self-care and well-being, that help us find our purpose, our sense of wonder, and spiritual meaning, especially in these troubled times. And as the climate crisis worsens, we're sensing that we can't heal or find inner peace or live well until we've made peace and healed with Mother Earth, until we've learned her wisdom for living well. We're ready to re-enchant our lives and our devastated world, ready for spells that restore our connection to the earth, to our spirits, and to sacred ways of living well and with wonder." Wicce, wise one. Perhaps it's no surprise that witchcraft is the fastest growing spirituality in America. Witch is a word full of magic. Despite centuries of slander, suppression, and misogyny, witches have reclaimed their wisdom, their magic, and their purpose. They have reclaimed what it means to be a witch. Witch comes from wicce, a word more than 5,000 years old. A wicce was a wise one, a seer of the sacred, a shaman of our Euro-indigenous ancestors. Witchcraft, the craft of the wise, with all its modern reinventions, is rooted in humanity's oldest spirituality, shamanism, and has many similarities to indigenous wisdom traditions across the world. Wise ones called a wicce, medicine woman, a shaman, a mambo, a bruja, a strega, and more have always had similar sacred roles. Wise ones are healers, midwives of babies, lost souls and souls who have passed, conductors of sacred ceremonies, celebrations, and rites of passage. They're interpreters of dreams, divinations, and signs, keepers of mysteries and makers of magic. They're masters of balancing, harmonizing, and uniting inner and outer, the visible and invisible, spirit and world. A witch is a traveler between the worlds who knows the worlds are one. They recognize and honor places of power and the spirits of those places. We know the wild divinity of nature, and we know that human nature is better when we recognize that we're part of nature. We know that plants are healers and animals are teachers, and that we have much to learn. Witches long ago learned that the world was magical, and witches have always used their wisdom, their skill, and their magic to live well and to create harmony within, with others, with spirit, and with a natural world that is sacred. And this is at the top of page 6. She says, I am a witch. As a witch who was public 40 years before it was acceptable, as an activist, attorney, and internationally best-selling author, and the recipient of honors no one would expect a witch to receive, I know what magic can accomplish. Long before the term manifesting was popular, spells were an ancient art for exactly that. Witches have always cast spells to manifest, to heal, and to help, and that power resides within you, whether you're a witch or not. You don't have to be a witch to cast a spell, just as you don't have to be Buddhist to meditate or Hindu to practice yoga. Today, science has confirmed what witches have always known. Our consciousness has a remarkable capacity to affect the outcome of events. Cast a spell and you tap into your innate capacity to hack your brain, body, and energy to manifest what you want and need and what the world needs from you. Top of page 7, spells for living get well will guide you in spell casting that is natural, positive, and effective. And she says, cast the spells in this book, adapt them and make them your own, and you'll find yourself manifesting change and well-being. Your sense of confidence, optimism, and joy will expand. Your life will grow and your spirit will blossom. Cast your spells and you'll re-enchant your life and the world. All right, and there was a bit more I wanted to share with you. So one of the things I love about this is she talks about magic as a force, not just like a practice that you do, but it's like the force of nature. And we want to connect in with nature and we can live in harmony with nature. And here's page 13. She says, you are a love spell cast by the universe. I love that. An affirmation, a meditation, an incantation, a full moon, a feather, a seed, a seashell, a stone, a sunrise. Everything has magic and anything can be a spell. Spells can be written, spoken, chanted, danced, meditated upon, envisioned, performed once or with regular devotion. Spells can be spontaneous or simple or carefully planned and orchestrated. You can recite an ancient Mesopotamian incantation or make up a 2-line rhyme. You can listen rather than speak, swim rather than stand, use only your desire or every herb in your kitchen cabinet. You can create an altar filled with everything you need. You can be the altar where the universe casts its spell. Don't you love that? I don't know if you can hear in my voice. It says, I get so excited with this. It's like, wow, anything is possible. You know, it's so beautiful. She says, you can start casting spells in this book right now, but I want to share a little wisdom with you that will enhance your experiences, skills, and results. When you cast a spell, you become an energy worker, crafting your life with the help of forces and resources that flow back and forth between the invisible and the visible, between spirit and nature, life force and life form. You're co-creating with divine powers, with the natural world, and with spirit. Spells are a spiritual practice, creating a partnership between you and a sacred power that always has your best interests at heart. It sees you in the full measure of your potential, your life, your reason for being here now. It guides you in ways that will fill your life with manifestation of its magic. Signs will appear, synchronicities happen, dreams come true. Your intuition will blossom, your heart will open, and you will sense the presence of the sacred in your life. All right, so I want to go here a little bit further, where she's talking about working with the elements. And she wants to be really clear that this is not about manipulating or trying to do anything that we would think might be negative at all. And I want to be really clear about that as well, that, our society and especially the media has done a really good job of scaring the heck out of us when it comes to these things. And the truth of the matter is women are very naturally connected to this wise one energy. And if you've listened to my podcast, especially the podcast episode I did on A Woman's Path of Healing and Awakening, one of the things I said is that we hardly have any words for a powerful woman or a powerful spiritual woman. We don't have really words. Most of those words have either been demonized, like the word witch, or they've been sexualized, like the word mistress, or they have a negative connotation, like a diva. You know, a diva is a woman who's reached the top of her craft as a singer. A man gets to be called a maestro, but a woman is a diva. And that comes with all these connotations of being self-absorbed and, you know, all these negative things that who wants to associate themselves with those things? But we don't have words because our words have been taken from us. And I don't know if you want to call yourself a witch or not. You don't have to, but it's good to know that this is an indigenous wisdom that has been trampled over and has been twisted into something that it never was. It's a natural thing to be connected to the earth, and that's what I love about it. So I'm reading on page 16, the moral compass for casting spells. It's often said that the reason witches don't cast spells to harm or control others is because of the law of karma, that everything will come back to you. And she says, but these aren't real moral principles. They just motivate you to act out of self-interest and fear of punishment. But when you work with energy that is innately sacred, there is no need for fear or punishment. And there is a deep moral compass embedded in creation, reflecting the oneness of spirit and world that will guide you. It's nature's great magic, and it applies to all of life, human and other, and to spell casting, whether you believe the energy you work with is neutral or supernatural or gives you power over nature to manifest your intentions. Nature has its own innate value, wisdom, and divine strategy for life. Let it guide and empower your spell casting, and you'll recognize nature making the sacred visible and spirit knowable. You'll experience the wise perfection of a divine order where everything in nature lives well and makes the world better for all life, including you. All right, so she's got such beautiful things in here about spells and things you can do and all kinds of fun things. But I'm now going to open this up randomly to a page and see if there's a spell that jumps out for all of us. What is the universe wanting to let us know today? What would be a fun message for everybody that would be inspiring? All right, so this is on page 165, and it is the Celebrate Your Success spell, which I love. And she says, if you're like me, you probably tend to overlook your own accomplishments, assuming they're simply what's expected of you as you move on to the next task. It's time to recognize and honor what you've achieved and give yourself the respect and congratulations you've earned. Cast this spell to celebrate your success. You'll need an altar of your achievements, your favorite flowers, a candle in your favorite color, something you love to wear, something delicious to eat and drink, and music that you love. She says to set up your altar filled with examples, photos, objects, and symbols of what you've created and accomplished, pictures of yourself or your children, books you've written, diplomas and honors you've been awarded, the first dollar you earned, your artwork, craft work, volunteer work, spiritual practices, and anything that you might want to have, like athletic achievements. You might want to have the sneakers that you wore in a marathon. Put on your party duds and turn on the music. And then here is how you cast your spell. Go to your altar, look at what you've accomplished, take your time and really take it in. It's kind of amazing, isn't it? Step 2, uncork the champagne or whatever you want to drink, toast yourself and declare out loud and loud. Here's the spell. I did it. Yes, I did. I did it. I did that and that and that because yes, I can and I have. And I will again, so mote it be. Step 3, enjoy yourself. You deserve it. Step 4, your spell is cast. And the last thing is to act in accord. The next time you accomplish something, take the time to honor your success and celebrate in a meaningful, even if a small way. I love that this is the thing I opened it to because I'm not very good at this. I'm not very good at celebrating my success. So I'm going to read it again. Let's read it again. I did it. Yes, I did. I did it. I did that and that and that. Because, yes, I can, and I have, and I will again. So mote it be. How's that for a spell to congratulate yourself for your success, for everything that you're doing, all the things that you've done? It's so easy for us to forget and to just go on to the next thing. But that's what I love about this book. Something as simple as that, as just recognizing yourself. You're taking that energy and you're helping to change your energy. I love it. So I would love to know if this resonates with you at all. And if you have any experience with spells, and what do you think? Does this bring up something that makes you feel excited? Does it make you feel a little bit nervous? I know for me, when I started reading about it, I was like, oh, this is kind of how I live every day. I just didn't have a word for it. I didn't have a name for it. Working with energy, working with the sacred, working with nature, using words as, prayers, whatever you want to call them. I'm like, oh, healing. This is what I've been doing my whole life, and I just didn't have a word for it. Now I know I was walking the path of the wise one, and that this is something that my ancestors did. It's something that the indigenous people of Europe did way back when, as did people all around the world. It is natural, and it feels like home in so many ways, especially for those who follow the path of the divine feminine, the sacred feminine. It's so healing, I think, and reassuring and comforting. So I would love to know what you think about that and if it resonates with you. And just a reminder, next week, we're going to have Phyllis Curott on the podcast, and she's going to be sharing with us her story, how she went from being an attorney in New York City to coming out as a witch and a priestess, and what it all means, and how can we, at this time on the planet, really start to work in harmony with the earth and with nature to really bring harmony into our own lives, our own bodies, and the world around us. So I really hope that you join me next week as well. All right, my friend, if you know someone who could benefit from this podcast, please feel free to share it with them. Let them know about it. As always, if you can leave a review, that helps me out so much. I really appreciate that. And until we meet next time, know that the magic and the miracles, your miracle's already here. Why? Because we live in a magical world. Absolutely. All right, my friend, God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. I'm so grateful to be able to spend this time with you. If you want even more inspiration, feel free to visit my website, francisfaden.com or magnifyyourmiracles.com. And if you did enjoy this episode, I would really appreciate it if you left a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever it is that you connect with awesome podcasts. Remember, the key to magnifying your miracles is remembering that your miracle is already here.